broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rackets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways.
saved it.
What a save!
Look to the outside, and Trunkett goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
He's trying, there's contact though.
Slide left of the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work. Try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Friday night. It is Chris and Rick here on MaxSpeedTV. We're bringing you the Relentless Racing Series. Coming at you from Watkins Glen tonight. We got 50 laps of action with one stage lap on lap 15. Rick, I'm being told that the tires are going to last about 16 laps, and that's about a fuel run too. So they should be able to make that first stage run. Got to be a little conservative with the fuel to get there.
Yeah, definitely, Chris. I mean, that's what they're estimating right now, so that's going to get kind of interesting. I mean, one stage tonight, we're used to seeing 2, but here on the road course in Watkins Glen, it's only 50 laps, so instead of breaking it up, they're just going to do that 1 at 15, let these guys come in for new tires and some fuel, and then they're going to get back out there, and that'll actually force at least 1 green flag pit stop, Chris, to the end of it.
Yep, that's, I think, what they're looking for here tonight, 1 green flag stop. Of course, there will be no full course cautions as we are under the road course rules, and we are getting ready to get it going here with about 2 minutes 50 seconds remaining in practice. So far, kind of a short field tonight, but I promise you, based on what I saw from a couple of guys, the racing here going to be pretty darn close.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a finish like the one that we saw there. I want to give a big shout out to Grandstand Video out there in MaxSpeedTV Chatland. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Friday night, brother. I know you got a couple of cars with your name on it out there, so welcome.
Got about 2 minutes to go. I think we're going to throw on some music and watch the rest of practice, Rick. And guys, we are going to be right back. All right, and we are getting ready to qualify. Guys, I realized that paints are wrong. I have updated training paints about 5 times here during practice. And I have refreshed about 5 times during practice. Once while I skipped away to a commercial. And what we're seeing is, unfortunately, what I am able to provide as we're waiting for these guys to get on with qualifying. I'll try it one more time. I'm not afraid to try things. Of course, I won't know if it works until they're out on track.
Hey, Rick's enable custom numbers. I believe that is all through them there. Our settings are all set up.
Yeah, custom numbers is something that happens through iRacing. Not Indy cars, no. Xfinity cars, Rafa. Still waiting for somebody to step out on track to begin qualifying. Jeffrey Fisher. We see him. Purple. We're going to reset him. Came back quick.
Fisher? Or Miller?
Okay, out on track, Lee Grunty in the 7. And he's trying to be the first one to get out there and qualify. Jeffrey Fisher steps out on track, getting ready to qualify his number 60. Jeffrey Fisher and James Miller sent me, it was pretty cool. It was a video of them practicing. And Rick, the finish was about the length of a paint of coat. It was so close. I don't even know. It was amazing. And I'm really hoping we get some close racing like that here tonight. Watkins Glen. Lee Grunty getting ready to get his first lap started up for qualifying. Lee Grunty getting ready to take a hard left-hand turn here after the carousel. And then it's a sharp right hand across the start-finish line. We're looking to see what kind of first lap time he can do. Jeffrey Fisher across at 1:11.657. That's a good lap. And we know Fisher's been practicing. We know Miller's been practicing. I'm sure the rest of the guys have too. So it'll be interesting to see where they land here. Fisher has told us he is a road course racer. Lee Grunty second with a 1:12.286. On board the 6 car, that's Kevin Giadosic. And Kevin is out there in his 1 sim. Again, coming at you from Watkins Glen here on a Friday night. It's going to be a good race. Love road course racing. Really adds another element to racing. A little technicality. Braking points. throttle points. Being careful to get on the throttle. That's a big one. Seems like we have the cameras queued up and ready to roll. So the only thing we're really looking for is the end of qualifying and get this thing underway. Bring up qualifying times just so we can see what we've seen so far, which is Kevin Fisher out front by a good margin, 0.6 of a second. Lee Bronte, second spot for 12.286. Kevin Giadersic in third with a 12.809. James Miller coming down pit road, waving off his qualifying effort. Troy Leonard out there.
Oh, poor Kevin Giaderich there. Had a little bit of issue coming down through the turns there. Went into the grass.
Looking at the 43 car, he came off that corner very loose, carrying a lot of speed. We'll see if it translates, and it does. He cracks the 11s with an 11.672. So a good first lap out of Wagner. And look at Troy Leonard go 11.529.
I gotta say, Troy Leonard, usually we see him in the Coke Life with the green out there, but this Coke Zero car, this is my soda, man. I love Coke Zero, and that car looks very nice out here on the Glen tonight, Chris.
Yeah, it sure does. So Tom Wagner, 11.672, takes over third spot in his 43. Kevin still sitting on the end of pit road. Jeffrey Fisher sitting there. And Troy still out on track, trying to do his second lap.
Actually, if you remember correctly, buddy, at one point I made us a couple of Coke. I believe it was on the trucks, on the Camping World trucks there back in the day. And I kind of had the same paint scheme. So I don't know if I'm allowed to actually pick a favorite tonight, but that number 45 is my favorite tonight.
Oh, you're allowed. I think that's allowed.
I hope it is. Brian Leonard getting the pole so far, Chris, with a 1:11.529.
Yeah, 5.29 is a strong qualifying time here. And Wagner actually falls back to third. Fisher comes out and grabs a second. 11.657. So Troy
Lee
Leonard
Grandy's sitting in fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a really good lap there. His lines were perfect there, Chris.
that was amazing. Kevin Giadersic sitting on the end of pit road. I think Wagner's probably getting a little extra qualifying or practice time rather. James Miller comes out 25 and wham,
Ooh.
a 1:10.596. Wow. He is coasting around the track. He's got to be he's probably pumping his hand in the air. Got to be excited about that. There was some talk about trying to get into the 110s, and James Miller figured out a way to do it. Wow. 55 seconds left to qualify. We get ready to set the grid here at Watkins Glen for 50 laps of action. It's going to be 121 and a half miles. First stage is going to end at lap 15.
James Miller, man, what an outstanding qualifying time, Chris. He's in here in the points in number 1 position, so he's definitely doing what he has to do, showing these guys, hey, listen, get ready because I'm going to hang on to my lead as long as I can there in the point standings.
Yeah, well, you just said it. Miller's up front in the lead, 384 points behind him, Giadersic, and he's 7 points behind Gruenberg, who's not on track right now. In third, Troy Leonard, we just saw him have a really good qualifying effort. In second, he is fourth in points. Eric Lyda is here to race tonight. Did not take a qualifying time. Jeffrey Fisher had a pretty decent qualifying time himself, sitting there in sixth position. Tom Swagner Jake McDonald, Gabriel Essing, and Vic Bloom rounding out the top 10. And Rick, that is all the pre-game activities because we are getting ready to grid these cars.
Yeah, we are, man, and I can't wait. This is going to be fun. I mean, it is a small field, but hey, I think the racing is going to be top-notch tonight, Chris.
Looking for a view I'm happy with. We're good with that one right there. Fish Guts is out there. Come on, go 60. Yeah, Fisher with an excellent qualifying run. James Miller beats him out, though. My goodness. Those were the two guys that sent me the picture, Rick, and I showed it to you. That thing, it was one layer of paint difference between the two. So now,
yeah, that definitely had to be.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, now it's coming down to, okay, you did it for a lap or two. What can you do for 50 of them?
Exactly.
Green flag, we're going. Wasn't expecting a standing start. Holy cow. Heading into turn number 1. James Miller up front. Troy Leonard and Jeffrey Fisher battling for third. It looks like Fisher's going to take advantage. Troy Leonard loses another spot to Thomas Wagner. Not expecting a standing start here. Very cool.
I thought they might have at least done one pace lap, man, but wow. It was like, boom.
Yeah. Well, that'll get you excited quick. Sitting there talking like we have plenty of time to go over the starting grid. No. No, sir.
I'd like to run it down real quick, Chris. James Miller started on the pole with Troy Leonard on his outside in second. Jeffrey Fisher started third. Thomas Wagner fourth. Everything's changing on me again here. Lee Grunty in the 7 car it was 5th. Kevin Giadrich was 6th. And Eric Lyda 7th.
James Miller firmly in control of this one. Fisher right behind him in the 60 car. And I kind of expected that. Troy Leonard in third. Loving to see a good run out of that 45. The 43 of Thomas Wagner right behind him. They come into a braking point. These cars are flying around this track, and they look awesome.
They really do.
Unbelievably good so far out of the Relentless Racing Series. James Miller's got a pretty good lead over Jeffrey Fisher at 1.2 seconds heading into the bus stop and around, setting up for the carousel. Man, oh man, this is awesome. Fisher entering the carousel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Fisher, he got his fans out there. We got Fish Guts, we got Haley Fisher out there. How you doing, Haley? Thank you guys for coming out here on this Friday night to watch these awesome guys play on this. I mean, this is going to be a fun track. I mean, we don't get to do too many road courses, so we're happy to have you guys here along for the ride here for all the excitement here from Relentless Racing. If you guys haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, give us a thumbs up if you haven't yet. And sit back and enjoy the race because it's going to be a good one.
James Miller woes it up heading into turn number 1. Fisher behind him by just a little ways. It's 1.3 seconds separating top 2 drivers. Miller throwing that car around at his will. And Fisher doing the same. Just had to get there. And now I think these guys are running almost identical. Oh my God, Rick. 2/100ths of a second separating them on the last lap. That's the speed around this track. These guys are moving.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're doing a great job.
2/100ths of a second separating. Oh my. So Fisher's going to have a challenge because if they're going to be running that close all night long, it's going to be a long time before he can catch Miller. And we know we have lap 15 as the first stage, and they're going to be like trying to reset. They're going to have to think about how they're going to do pit stops. This is all going to come down to strategy. Pretty good stuff. James Miller gets ready to come across the start-finish line. Lap number 4. And hard on the brakes, downshifting into the big right-hand turn number 1. Swings that wide. Looks good out there. Fisher is right behind him. Fisher a little bit slower that last lap, giving up a little bit of time on track to Miller. Miller running it smooth. Fisher trying to catch him, and you can tell the tendency is to drive a little bit harder when you're trying to catch somebody. And sometimes that can cost you time on the track, and that last lap it sure did. Jeffrey Fisher just a little bit slower that second lap, or that last lap. Thomas Wagner is taking over third spot from Troy Leonard in his 43, and Troy is still right there behind him. Eric Lyda out there in the 33 car, and he is holding on to fifth spot. Lee Grunty, he is running in sixth. Kevin Giottersic in his 6 car. A little damage in the front end of that one. He's running his 7th position. Look at those rotors glow red as they hit the corners. The one thing they haven't figured out how to do in the sim yet, Rick, it's brake rotor warpage, and it's a good thing because it would definitely happen here on this track.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. I mean, give it time. I mean, iRacing's been doing such a fantastic job and everything. I mean, we got the day-night transition things going in. I know they've been working on rain, so that's going to be kind of interesting when that comes in. But just the amount of graphical stuff that they've been doing within the last few builds, man. I mean, the sounds of the car sound a lot better. I know we broadcast one league that does the super late models, and those cars sound so much better. So iRacing definitely pouring in, you know, what they can into here, trying to give everybody the content that they want, and it's really good to see.
Hard left-hand turn for James Miller, setting up for the last turn on the track. A big right-hand turn, getting ready to come down this front stretch and across the start-finish line. And then it's hard on the brakes again for turn 1. After you build up quite a bit of speed here on this long front stretch. Miller, Fisher, Leonard top 3. Leonard got around Wagner to retake third spot. Wagner with some pretty big damage on that number 43. Eric Lyda kind of lurking back here in his 33. No damage on that car, just kind of keeping it clean, as is pretty normal for Eric. Lee Grunty back there in the 7th trying to get it done. And Kevin is starting to lose track of Lee Grunty. Kevin Giottersic in the 6 car has some damage on that car, maybe affecting performance. Back up front, James Miller still leading the lead now, back to Jeffrey Fisher. 1.7 seconds, then you have to go 8 seconds back, Rick, to reach third spot, Troy Leonard.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the field is really spread out, Chris, and that's going to happen here on a road course. I mean, some guys are more comfortable than others. We're seeing it. The top 2 right now doing everything that they have to do. They're pretty close, like you said, 1.766 seconds right now. And then back to third place, 7.2. So you can tell who the guys out there who are really comfortable here doing left and right hand turns. And they're putting on a good show. I mean, you know, this is tough. You're not going to have the cautions that come out for full course to really catch everybody up right now. I'm watching Eric Lyda getting a little bit of pressure there for a second by the number 43, Thomas Wagner. Lyda out there doing a good job. Wagner got around him.
You're watching that. We're on board with Jeffrey Fisher from the cockpit view, going a lap around this very long track, well over 2 miles, and Fisher is trying to get it done, and you can hear the tires screaming around the carousel. This off-camber turn can be awfully tricky. Fisher handling it very well there, trying to gain a little time back on Miller. Miller pulling away the gap, 2.3 seconds. Ooh, Miller got on the brakes a little hard, smoked those tires, and that should allow for Fisher to catch back up. It's really about being smooth here, and any mistake will lose him time. And that's exactly what happened to Miller, as it went from 2 seconds plus to 1.5 here, getting ready to go into turn number 1. James Miller has to be smooth, or he's going to lose even more time to Fisher. Allow Fisher to get closer to the back bumper of James Miller.
And And that's the key here. I mean, Chris, everything is consistency. You really want to get into your groove. You want to keep your concentration level up high. You want to kind of keep glancing up in the rear view to see what's going on behind you. You don't want to be driving out of that rear view, though. You want to just be looking ahead, hitting your brake points, hitting your throttle points. Went to the carousel. Not too bad there with Jeffrey Fisher.
If you go back to Troy Leonard, he is starting to separate from the rest of the field, and the rest of the field right behind him. It's Wagner, Lida, and Granty, and Kevin Jedersich is starting to catch back up, but a lot of damage again on that number 6 car. He's going to have to get some repairs made, I think, to get competitive again. Luckily, not a lot of place that draft is definitely not really an issue here, so it's really a handling thing. Hopefully, Kevin's car handling okay. James Miller has been out front for all 8 laps we've completed. He's working lap 9. Jeffrey Fisher sitting in second with Troy Leonard in third. Eric Lida and Lee Grundy making up the top 5. Kevin Jedersich is out there in 6th spot. And Thomas Wagner is coming down pit road. Something must have happened with Thomas as he is coming all the way down pit road, hitting his pit stop. Or maybe he's just pitting early. That's possible here.
I mean, Kevin in that 6 machine, he definitely has a little bit more to look at too, Chris. I mean, he does have some front end damage there, so really got to keep your eye on the gauges. Make sure that car doesn't overheat. Right now, it's looking good. I'm in the cockpit with him, but definitely something he's got to keep his eye on.
Yeah, from the cockpit, unfortunately, you can see the damage to the hood. Temp gauges look okay, and the number 6 is actually getting up. Ooh, just time for a downshift there. It is getting up to speed, so it's just a matter of getting the confidence back and getting some more laps under the hood, under the seat on this one. Look for Kevin to try and make his way forward. James Miller, though, boy, is he making his way forward. We saw him just a little while ago lose a little bit of time to Fisher. That's gone. 2.7 seconds now is the gap between Miller and Fisher.
Miller's one of the happiest guys out there on the track right now, Chris. He has nobody in front of him. He's got a nice lead to the car behind him, which is Jeffrey Fisher in that 60 machine. So he can really just concentrate, have fun, go out there. You know, he can save his tires a little bit. I mean, everybody knows within the next 5 laps we're going to be having the stage come out. It's only going to be one stage tonight, folks. That's going to be on lap number 15. So these guys are going to be able to come in, get fuel, get tires, do what they have to do. As we were told earlier, the fuel run on this is about 16 laps, so they're going to come in just, you know, right at the right time. They're going to have 1 lap left, but I expect everybody to come down into pit road.
Cars out on track, starting to separate right now. Between 3rd and 4th, you've got about a second and a half. That's Leonard over Eric Lida. Between 5th and 6th, you've got about 7/10 of a second. So Jedersich is starting to catch the back bumper of Granty. So Kevin is starting to find some speed and confidence in that number 6. And Thomas Wagner actually in 7th place right now. Not down a lap, but down big time on time. But he does have fresh tires and fuel for that 43 car. Right behind him. Really, not that far behind. James Millen at 25, starting to lurk. I'm sure he's going to be able to see Wagner on that. Well, maybe not on the front stretch. It's going to happen pretty quick, though. Miller is so fast out there. It's only going to be a matter of time. 2 seconds lost, though, from his best time to the last lap. Best time, a 1:11.176. His last lap, a 1:13.439. So about 2 seconds, 2.3 seconds ahead, or slower than his best time. So James Miller starting to slow down, and that's tires, Rick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the tires go away pretty quick here, Chris. I mean, they're really on him, especially Miller. I mean, he's out there, he's racing as fast and hard as he can, and obviously his equipment's going to show a little bit of wear. Trying to keep that lead from Jeffrey Fisher. Doing what he has to do. But definitely, the tire wear is high right now. I mean, we heard him as we're in the cockpit. You know, with these guys, you can hear those tires just screaming around these corners.
Jeffrey Fisher trying to make up a 4-second deficit to James Miller. And that is the length of the bus stop, as you see just then Fisher going in and Miller coming out of that bus stop. That's 4 seconds here on a road course. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really look at it. I mean, as I'm watching TV1 here, Chris, I mean, you can both see clearly both cars there, but definitely a little over 4.5 seconds now. Miller doing a good job out there, getting nice, clean lines down through the corners, doing exactly what he has to do.
Really sliding that rear end around just a little bit, coming out of that last corner before coming down the backstretch. Heading into turn 1 is James Miller. Got to get a little aggressive out there, and Miller is staying that way, and that gap has increased to 4.7 seconds over Fisher. Fisher really is going to have some time to make up here as we're on lap 13 of 50. A couple more laps, we'll see the yellow come out. That'll be the end of the one and only stage here tonight. Then we'll have about 33 laps to go under the green before this one is done. It's going to go quick tonight, folks. Being that it's on a road course, no full caution. Definitely will go fast tonight. Speaking of fast, it's James Miller, and that gap is just increasing every single lap. Now 4.6 seconds as he gets ready to cross the start-finish line to start lap number 14. We'd like to thank everybody out there in chat and joining us on a Friday night. We're going to watch the Relentless Racing Series Xfinity cars really getting around this very long road course here at Watkins Glen. James Miller enjoying the biggest gap so far over second place runner Jeffrey Fisher. It's 5.033 seconds, and it is stretching. Miller having a good time out there in his number 25, and Fisher is too. Don't get me wrong. Jeffrey Fisher out there having a blast, running in second, has a strong car, and these two are really pulling away from third place Troy Leonard. Troy out there in the 45, falling back a little bit, came back through, and now running in third spot. Behind him, Eric Lyda started in 7th, and we are under that caution. That's stage number 1 for James Miller. Congratulations to James Miller, stage 1 winner, as these guys woe him up, and we get ready to see some pit stops under caution. Those will be the only set of pit stops under caution tonight. As Miller catches the Porsche pace car. So a couple of really cool things, man. They've got the Porsche out there as a pace car tonight, Rick. They had a standing start. These guys are keeping us on our toes.
Yeah, iRacing. They threw in that new Porsche there for the road courses. Really, it's for the guys, the road guys. But hey, listen, they used it here at Watkins Glen. Actually, I think it's a really nice model, Chris. That pace car, safety car, looks really good out there.
Yeah, very nice looking car. James Miller decides he's going to cut the course. Why not? You're the leader. It would be really cool if you could bump the bumper of the pace car. I think that would be fun.
It would. I mean, we just had April Fools, and there was a couple of guys in the forums and on a couple of the Facebook pages, Chris, that I follow there for iRacing. Like, how cool would it be if iRacing actually did that for an April Fool's joke, where they actually made the pace cars solid? They made every car that comes onto pit road solid, so that way you don't, you can't go through, and just let it go for the day and just see, who gets bit by that, because you know there's so many people, and I know I've done it before, I know you've done it before. When we're out there, we get right up to the pace car and act like we're bumping them, you know, stuff like that. So that would have been funny. That really would have. And it looks like everyone's going to come down pit road here, Chris.
And why not? Tires and fuel all around.
The one guy that can stay out, that's Thomas Wagner in the number 43, already coming down once for pit road, getting a little service done.
Going to be coming down again as this number starts kicking off.
And again, why not? I mean, even though he already came down pit road, he knows that he can't make, you know, he's going to have to come in before everybody else. So, guys coming in. Looks like the number 7 overshot their pit just a little bit. Had to back up a little bit.
So odd watching pit stops happen from that side.
It is a little different. And those Speedway.com cars look good out there tonight, Chris.
Little battle coming off of pit road. I almost thought Fisher may have been ahead by just a bumper, but no. Miller is going to retain the lead. Eric Light is going to get out third. Thomas Wagner picking up the most of the bunch. He's going to come out fourth. Lee Grunty fifth. Troy Leonard in sixth, and Kevin Giodricic is going to be in seventh spot. All 7 drivers who started tonight still on racetrack, and it's been as bad as good as I thought it was going to be. These guys really racing hard, and some good battles kind of through the field. As James Miller and Jeffrey Fisher getting ready for the restart of this one. This is going to be good. Pace car lights are still on, so we've got at least one more lap here under caution. And Rick, that's going to give us enough time to step away for just a moment. And we are back. Told you it was going to be just a quick moment, guys. Just had to take a quick second and mention something to Rick about the broadcast. And we're getting ready to go back green. One more lap under caution. Pace car lights will go off this time by. And Rick, I expect some good racing here. When we go back green, you're going to have Miller and Fisher on the front row with Lyda and Wagner on the second row.
Now what's going to be really interesting here is that these guys are now going to be doing a standing restart. So one thing that iRacing has done, folks, is they actually changed the way that the transmissions work. So, you know, they do have a chance to fail. If you let off the clutch just a little bit too much, you could stall your car. So that could have happened. So this is where it's going to get interesting to see where these guys, how they start. If Miller can get a good jump on Fisher, then we're going to see a little bit of what we saw. But if Fisher keeps his eyes on what Miller does, he could stay right there with him. Now they're going through the carousel there. We're going to be getting ready to hit that green flag here shortly. Nice long pace run. Let's guys do what they got to do. Get relaxed. Get focused.
Still getting ready to take the green flag. It's going to happen very soon.
Nice long pace lap. Like I was just telling folks, Chris, you know, this is the time where drivers, they're like, okay, take a deep breath, Maybe wiggle out the arms a little bit. As you see Fisher, he's out there cleaning off his tires, getting them all scrubbed up, ready to go. This is where it's going to get interesting. It's going to, the pace car, there it is. Now it's not a standing start, so now it's as long as who can go fastest. And right now, let me tell you, that 60 car, man, did he get a good restart. Miller a little bit stronger there in the 25, Chris, but these guys are nose to nose right now.
To the inside, Miller has the advantage, and he takes it. The battle now for third as Lyda and Wagner really getting it on here. Wagner hanging tough on the outside in the 43, now to the inside. That long straightaway coming right up, and Thomas Wagner in the 43 muscles his way in. And Lyda. Oh no, Lyda spinning! Holy cow! We're going to go back and take a look at this one. No yellow flag or not, we've got to see this. Eric Lyda going for a ride in his number 33. Gets into the wall, and the 6 car goes through him. And Lyda down the track, sparks flying off the hood. Oh my, Eric Lyda has to go down pit road. He's going to get a pit tow job there. Wow, just awesome. Eric Lyda not thinking the same thing I am, but that was some wicked accident. As the way he's spinning is up front.
The way he's spinning, Chris, I mean, he's like a top out there, man. I don't know if Lyda has VR or not, but if he does, I guarantee you he closed his eyes on that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt about that. So it's going to be Miller, Fisher, and Wagner, your top 3. Kevin Giodicic is out there in that 6 car. A little bit of damage in the front end. We mentioned that before. And he is running in 4th spot now. Lee Granti in the 7. He is running 5th. And Troy Leonard in his 45 going to be running in 6th.
As you're going down through that, Chris. Oh, hold on. We got Miller, who just lost the lead. Bumped into the wall. Did a good scrape. Then he actually hit one of the numbers that told these guys when they had to start going for the turn. So right now, Jeffrey Fisher takes over the lead, Chris.
Jeffrey Fisher looking to try and lead a first lap here tonight. He's blocking everything he can, and that allows for Thomas Wagner to creep into the picture. Wagner to the inside. Jeffrey Fisher not able to hold on. Fisher going the wrong way. He's going to have the inside on the final right-hand turn. No! Wagner blocks it and takes the lead. Across the start-finish line is Thomas Wagner, or going to be, to lead a lap. Oh my! Heading into turn 1, Thomas Wagner, your race leader. Fisher and Miller making up the top 3. And what an awesome chain of events right there, Rick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was sitting there watching Fisher, and all of a sudden that 43 came out of nowhere, Chris. Thomas Wagner doing a good job now. Ooh, 60 into the wall just a little bit there, Chris.
These guys have to be careful. Have to be careful. Fisher goes from 2nd to 3rd. Damage on the front now of the Fisher mobile in the 60. Heavy right front damage. Definitely did get into the wall there. Miller to the inside on the carousel. Fisher goes way wide. Mows the lawn out there. Kevin Giodicic able to get around him. Lee Granti as well.
Now this is where things can get dangerous, Chris, because I mean, we see these cars, they're out there, they are driving balls to the wall right now, and that's where the mistakes are happening. I mean, it's hard to see around these cars as you're following them, playing follow the leader. So you're going to see them a little spread out just a little bit there, but yeah, that's the damage that's happening right now. These guys racing very, very hard.
Whoa! James Miller gets way loose. And Kevin Giodicic able to get around him. Miller falls back to 3rd. Lee Granti in 4th. Seems like after the first pit stop, guys are driving harder than they were at the beginning of this race, trying to get position. And it is going backwards for them. They got to settle down and just run the line they were running. They were pulling away from everybody. I'm talking about Miller and Fisher. If they can just calm down a second, take a breath, find your line, find your brake points, find your acceleration points, you're gonna be fine. Don't need to knock down the walls right yet. Hard left-hand turn, getting ready to set up that last right-hand turn, Rick.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. These guys are driving like it's the final lap right now, doing what they have to do. Look at the number 6 car, Chris. He was out there in the back there right before the stage ended. Now he's running in the second. He is running hard right now.
Yeah, Kevin Giadersic out there. Whoa! Whoa, Miller. Going way out there. And he's going to lose another spot, this time to Fisher. Fisher now ahead of Miller. Fisher's running in third, Miller fourth, and now these two need to settle it down again. And really, they need to find their race pace. They were blistering fast in that first section of the race. And they can be, again, damage notwithstanding. But they are driving just absolutely balls out, as you said.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, Chris. These guys, every driver's out there to try to win the race. But the thing is, they're actually hurting themselves out right now because they're just driving balls out. And they're making a lot of mistakes. I mean, we saw a lot of guys tapping the wall. We saw a lot of guys cutting those corners and coming way out of the racing line. So that's hurting them right now. If they, like you said, if they just take a deep breath, get back into their rhythm that they were in there before the stage came out, they could definitely put some damage on those guys sitting in first and second.
Kevin Giadersic has the race lead. Can he maintain? No. Thomas Wagner able to get back around him. Kevin got loose, and he's going to lose a bunch of positions now because Jeffrey Fisher and James Miller are able to get around. Kevin drops back to fourth. Look at how loose these guys are driving. That is carrying way too much speed, and they are motoring around this track.
Jeffrey Fisher able to retake the lead, Chris, getting around the number 43. Let's see if he can hold it there, but that's exactly what's going on. These guys, they're pulling out all the stops right now. I mean, they're driving like it is the last lap of the race right now, and it's great because it's exciting. Nobody wants to get spread out like they did there before the stage came out.
Jeffrey Fisher hits the bus stop very smooth and kind of says goodbye to Wagner, who was running in second. James Miller sitting on the outside of the carousel. Definitely not the place you want to be, but does set up for the inside of the next corner. So Miller looking to maybe put the moves onto Wagner going into the sharp left-hand turn. Not able to get there. Maybe set up for the next one. No, doesn't look like. He looks like he's falling into line right now. Jeffrey Fisher led his first lap just now, Rick. First lap of the race that Jeffrey Fisher was able to lead. Congratulations to him, doing it on lap number 23. Now working lap 24 is the 60 of Jeffrey Fisher. Thomas Wagner behind him, and Miller right behind Wagner. Oh no, Wagner gets really loose, and he clobbers the wall. Clobbers it. Caution on track. So much for the no caution. Again, another surprise out of this camp as Thomas Wagner goes around hard. Full course caution out. We're going to go back and take a look at that one because he just nailed that wall. .43 gets loose and just spanks the wall with the left rear. And hits it again on the end. Oh, man. So, we've learned a couple of things here. Standing start. Check.
Stage one, check.
Full course caution. Check. And Jeffrey Fisher up front with James Miller behind him. Kevin Giadersic in third. Lee Granti fourth. Troy Leonard, Thomas Wagner, and Eric Lyda. Eric Lyda is down one lap because, well, he was on his roof spinning like a top. And I'm assuming that they're going to do... Do you think they're doing a lucky dog? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know anymore either, Chris. I'm just kind of watching to figure it out. Right now, though, what a race, man. I mean, we've had 3 people lead so far. Miller with the top number of 18 so far. Wagner's led 4. Fisher led 2. Then the caution came out, so this is going to kind of mess things up. I mean, we're at the halfway point of the race now, Chris. We're on lap 25 of 50. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys, I mean, I'm sure they're going to come down. I would think they'd come down for some tires and fuel. I mean, that's going to put on the best racing. Those guys can stay close together, and I think that was what each and every driver out there was trying to do, Chris. I think they were trying to definitely... I I'm just going to say, we got a smiley face. We got one with all kinds of teeth on there. That's Miller and Jeffrey Fisher. It kind of threw me out there. But yeah, I think what these guys wanted to try to do, I mean, they were racing hard, Chris. There was no need to race that hard, but I think what they wanted to do is try to stay as a pack. Didn't want to let anybody get too big of much of a lead, so that way they didn't have to worry. I mean, these guys doing a fantastic job out there. Like I said, we're on lap 25 of 50 right now. So technically be caution number 1. That first one we had at lap 15, that was the stage ending, with Miller winning that stage. Coming into tonight and number 1 in the points.
Jeffrey Fisher's car all beat up. Left rear, right front. Still one of the fastest cars out there. James Miller, right front, has seen better days. Still one of the fastest cars out there. Kevin Giottersic out there in his number 6. He went from 6th place up to 3rd so far. So he is definitely finding some confidence and some speed out of that number 6. Lee Granti out there in his number 7, started 5th, running 4th. Troy Leonard started 2nd, fell back to 5th place now. Thomas Wagner started 4th, currently running in 6th. And Eric Lyda started in 7th, currently in 7th, and man, he went for a ride. Paint on the roof, very scratched up in that 33 car. And here they come down pit road, Rick. They decide they're going to make the trip down pit road, give me 4 tires, a tank of fuel, and we'll be gone.
And I mean, that's something that was kind of expected, Chris. I mean, you know, we're under caution. You might as well go in. You might as well get tires. You might as well get a full tank of fuel. We know that fuel runs sometime around lap 16. So, why not? Maybe get a little bit of repairs done. I mean, it doesn't look like anybody really stayed in there too long. Now, these guys do have a fast repair. A lot of these guys, though, as we know from watching these guys throughout the season, putting on these fantastic races, there's a lot of drivers out there that will hold that fast repair right for the last minute. Will come out here with the closing laps of the race. They will have a brand new car ready to go.
Jeffrey Fisher winning the battle off of pit road. James Miller coming in 2nd. Kevin Giottersic, Troy Leonard, Lee Granti, Thomas Wagner, and Eric Lyda going to round out the field. Looks like Lyda did get himself a new car. He comes down pit road for his service. And we've definitely got some pit strategy going on as Fisher and Miller come down pit road. Do they think they can make it without stopping again? That's the question.
Well, we're on lap 27 of 50. I mean, that's... Oof. I could be pushing it. I mean, obviously, when we got the fuel report, Chris, I mean, those guys, they go out here and what they do is, you know, usually throughout the week, these guys will do a couple of practices. They kind of report to us what is going on with the cars and a good estimate. Now, I mean, all that gets thrown out the window. If you have a bunch of cars out there, you're all running in a pack, you know, it's going to be a little bit different than the guy that's out there and says, hey, you know, I just ran 16 laps by myself, burned up a tank of fuel in, you know, 16, 17 laps. So that's what it's going to be at. Not everybody drives the same, so it very well could be. I mean, we haven't really heard yet, Chris. I mean, these guys might think that they can go, and that's going to be real interesting to see.
Well, Kevin Giottersic takes up the lead of this race with Troy Leonard and Lee Granti behind them. Then it's going to be Thomas Wagner in the 43, starting this one back up in 4th. James Miller, Jeffrey Fisher, Eric Lyda rounding out the field. And we're going to find out very quick if they think they can make it. 16 laps goes by pretty quick at speed here. Based on their time, they did just come down and get a splash of fuel. Getting ready to go back to green flag conditions. Pace car will pull off onto pit road this time through. Waiting for the green flag. Kevin Jadosic gets on the gas, and he has gone on the inside, setting up for turn one. Troy Leonard Regrandi right behind him. These guys are battling again. Jadosic in the 6, trying to pull away, trying to make a buffer point here. Troy Leonard trying to stick with him. Having a little trouble doing it. Gap right now, 0.3 of a second, almost 4. Back to second place, Troy Leonard. In third place, it's the number 7 of Lee Granti. Thomas Wagner right on his heels. Go back just a little bit and Jeffrey Fisher and James Miller kind of hanging out towards the back here with Eric Lyda just ahead of him. Eric Lyda, 1 lap down, he is 33.
Now, one thing I love about road racing too, Chris, it's kind of like a super speedway. Is it doesn't matter really where you start. It matters, how you take care of your equipment and what you can do. And ooh, we just had somebody blinking big time. That would be Troy Leonard in the 45, Chris.
Yeah, Leonard still not back out on track. Big time blink. And you guys are forced to just keep driving. Troy Leonard still not there. Maybe having a connection issue. Oh, pops back in.
Whoa.
At a really unopportune time. Turn 1 is not the place you want that to happen. Oh, my.
Now, for those watching out there in MaxSpeedTV land, so what happens is we lose connection to the server, and that's exactly what happens. You blink. Now, Troy was out there. He was doing what he had to do. And to him, he's still out on track, but all the other cars around him have disappeared, so he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know if there's, obviously he knows that there's an issue. But so the best thing to do in that time is just sit there and just run your line. Ooh, the 7 going around, Chris.
7 goes around. Everybody trying to avoid. I don't think Eric Lyda, well, maybe he was. Oh, we're going to have to take a look. 7 goes for a ride. Seven goes through the bus stop. He's got Thomas Wagner right behind him. May have had a little help there. Damage to the front end of that 43 as the 7 comes to a stop. Everybody gets around him. Good job out back in the field, getting around the number 7. As we are under caution one more time. Thomas Wagner up front now with Kevin Jadosic behind him. Jeffrey Fisher and James Miller coming in to fill in the spots, 3 and 4.
And what it almost looked like too, Chris, is Jadosic went out and through the carousel. It looks like he might have cut the course a little bit, so he was forced to slow down there just for a split second to get his time back from cutting the course there a little bit, and that allowed Thomas Wagner and the 7 to go around. And yeah, that's just kind of unfortunate there for Lee Granti.
Under caution one more time. Gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial break, guys. We're gonna be right back.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Racely to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howley down to the inside.
Oh, he's trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashuba, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with 20 laps to go. Make it, I guess it's going to be 18 when we go back to green. And we have got another new race leader. It's going to be Jeffrey Fisher in that number 60, with Thomas Wagner and James Miller behind him. Kevin Giottersic right behind them in fourth. Lee Granti fifth. Troy Leonard and Eric Lyda going to round out the field. Eric Lyda staying out. I think he's going to take the wave around, Rick, and try and rejoin these guys on the lead lap. So the 33 looking to join the tail end of the lead lap here. When the pace car lights go off, Eric's going to get going around this track.
And he's got a lot of time to make up, Chris, before he pulls up to the back. So you know that he's going as fast as he possibly can to get through all these corners and try to get back to the lead end of the pack. And that's right where you want to be. I mean, sometimes this could work out. If he is fast enough and he's able to get around the corners, good, keep his car in a happy position, you know, he might have a good run there for when this thing goes green.
16 is the magic number. We were told 16 for a fuel run. We've got 20 laps to go, and these guys are out there burning fuel right now around this track. Even if it is under caution, Rick, I don't know if you're going to be able to stretch it out. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be real interesting to see, Chris. And it looks like Lee Granny, he says, hey, listen, I'm going to go in and get a little splash of fuel right now.
Not the worst idea. Not by a long shot. Eric Lyda also coming down pit road to get his service done. It's going to put him a lap down again. Not willing to chance on another caution. Eric Lyda comes down pit road to get service done to his number 33. And look at this first two rows. It's going to be Wagner and Fisher. Miller and Giottersic. Not in that order necessarily, as Jeffrey Fisher is your race leader.
Oh, the number 7, Lee Grandy, having a bit of a trouble there in pit road, Chris. He missed his pit box. Tried to back up. It wasn't enough, so he had to kind of reset the car. He did use his fast repair, so that number 7 is going to be nice and clean. It's got 4 new tires and a full tank of Sunoco racing fuel on it now. But, yeah, lost a lot of time there on pit road, though.
Well, luckily under caution, not under green. Now he's just got to worry about catching the tail end of the pack, which really should not be a problem.
Now they're coming down into the carousel now. Here comes the number 7 out that corner, number 1, heading into the carousel also. So he is going to be able to get back to the back end of this pack.
The number 60, Jeffrey Fisher, your race leader. Looking to try and get a very good restart, because he's going to have Thomas Wagner on his outside. Both of them will be diving into turn number 1 under green with new tires, and oh boy.
Well, fans out there in MaxSpeedTV land, throw it up now. Who do you think is going to take this? We've got 19 laps to go as of right now. It's going to be 18 when they cross that start-finish line and take the green flag. Give us those predictions. Do it for DW.
And here we go. Green flag is out. Jeffrey Fisher with a good restart. Thomas Wagner not able to hold on. And this is the big one. Big breaking point. Wagner tries to slap himself in there. Not able to do it. Trying to hold on a second now as Miller is right behind him. Thomas Wagner doing a good job. This is the first race in a long time. Wagner has not had a cast on his wrist. And he did mention before, oh no, gets into the wall, able to save it.
Wow.
I was going to say, he was saying that the wrist was still pretty sore, even out of that cast. And that's not what he wants to do, hit the wall with that force feedback rip. The 43 all over the place right now. James Miller behind him, holding on, trying to find a line around that 43. Sharp left-hand corner, getting ready for the even sharper right-hand corner to come down the front stretch. Jeffrey Fisher up front in his number 60.
43 hard off that rumble strip, Chris. That might allow Miller to get around him here. It's going to be interesting to see Miller on the inside right now.
It's all about braking here, going into turn number 1. Miller with a slight advantage going in. Oh, Wagner gets loose. Grunty gets loose on the outside. Way back. Wagner slaps off the wall in the 43. That's going to allow the 6 of Kevin Jetersich to get into position. Kevin trying to take over third place. The 6 car able to move up in front, takes position away from Thomas Wagner. As these guys finally get kind of nose to tail through the field. Miller and Fisher getting it on. The battle is on for first place. They're running side by side. James Miller has the lead by an inch here. Heading into turn 1, Miller for the lead.
Miller hit those corners just right, Chris.
Very smooth, good racing there out of James Miller. And Jeffrey Fisher is sitting in second, just like that. Kevin Jetersich is in third. These three kind of running nose to tail right now, separating from the rest of the field. Oh, the 7 going around. Eric Lyda, watch the 7 go around. And that's Lee Grunty. Lee gets it back out on track, and he is moving in the right direction. Should be no caution.
We got 16 laps to go.
James Miller up front in his number 25, getting ready to take the hard right-hand turn, going onto the front stretch. And we've got one way off pace. It is, where was it? Was it the 43? Yes, it was. Thomas Wagner took that 43 car way out into the dirt. James Miller up front in his number 25 with Jeffrey Fisher and Kevin Jetersich right behind. Jeffrey Fisher just a little ways behind Kevin in the points coming into tonight. Would love to finish ahead of him. Not too many cars that have full straight sheet metal out there at this point. There is 15 laps to go. 14 when they cross the start-finish line. They got 2 more corners before they do that. James Miller looking to get onto the front stretch as a race leader. Fisher trying to peek to the inside a little bit, not able to get there. Kevin Giottersic does though. Oh boy, the 6 almost had a run on the 60 going into the corner. Not able to get there this time by.
No, I think if Kevin stayed in line just for a little bit longer, I mean, he went out pretty early there, Chris, so that allowed Fisher to look in his rear view and go, oh, okay, I know what you're doing. But I wouldn't count Kevin out. He's doing a great job out there tonight, Chris. He started this race 6th. Right now he's sitting in 3rd. At one point he was a little further back. He was actually the last car. Working his way up with pit strategy and just keeping it cool, calm, and collective. And that's what we see out of Kevin all the time. I mean, that 6 machine, man, it doesn't matter where it is on the track. As it gets down towards the end of the race, Chris, you always know that he's going to be up towards the front.
Up towards the front, it's James Miller in the 25, running up front in first place. Jeffrey Fisher, right behind him with Kevin Giottersic trying to make his way up, maybe into 2nd, to battle for the lead. This guy's running slightly different lines now, trying to figure out a way to catch the guy ahead of him. Haley's having anxiety. I'll tell you what. You're not the only one, Haley. I knew this race was going to be close. I didn't imagine with 13 laps to go, we'd have 5 drivers that could easily win this one still. Maybe 6, maybe 7. Yeah, 5 drivers. That was great.
Right now, Chris, I got about 3/4 of a chair for rent right now because I'm not using any of that. I'm sitting right at the edge right now. This is exciting racing right now.
I do love watching road racing. It does add just a little bit. The ability to turn right once in a while, and boy does it give a challenge to the guys who are not normally doing this kind of racing, and they are stepping up to that challenge 120% here tonight.
I definitely agree. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chris. I mean, this has been an outstanding race, but we got 13 laps to go right now as they're coming down through the corner. And I'm looking forward to next week, too, Michigan. I mean, that's going to be a good race also. But, man, tonight, the battles on the track are just outstanding.
25 coming out of turn number 1, your race leader, Jeffrey Fisher, right behind. The gap right now, 1.183 seconds. Kevin Giottersic in 3rd, trying to catch up. Or at least stay close enough where if there's a problem up front, he can take advantage. Through the bus stop is the 25 and the 60. Going into the carousel. Only 11 more times after this lap for James Miller to try and win this one.
This will be race number 3 that he wins, Chris, if he does take the checkers here tonight. Having an outstanding job there in that number 25. Outstanding season so far in that number 25. But it ain't over until it's over, especially here on a road course, Chris. Anything can happen.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple of times already. A couple of unexpected cautions coming out. And way too high out of turn 1 was James Miller, and Fisher halves the lead. He does that again, and it's going to be bumper-to-bumper action here for 1 and 2. Mental mistake out of the 25. We haven't seen too many of them, but that one sure did cost him some time out on track, about 8 tenths of a second. And Fisher still closing in a little bit.
That's one thing that we talked about earlier. You got to keep that concentration up through every single turn here. You got to hit your braking points. You got to get on the gas at the same time when you can. And if you push this a little too hard, I mean, he's got a good lead right now, so there's no really big need for him to be pushing it as hard, Chris. And, I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, that's one of the things, the great things about road racing is that you just never know. I mean, it's kind of like a super speedway. You know, if you got hung out to dry or something on a super speedway, that's going to allow a lot of people to go by you. And all it takes is a couple mistakes like Miller just did to really help him or help Fisher catch up to him, and that's exactly what Jeffrey wants. Jeffrey's just waiting for those mistakes to happen.
The rest of that lap just about perfect for Miller as he starts stretching the lead back out. Back up to 1.23 seconds. Miller over Fisher.
And you noticed it right there, Chris. He took it a lot easier through that corner. He set it up a little bit better. He didn't go very wide, so that's exactly what he needs to do. Guys doing an outstanding job here tonight at the Glen. One state over, Chris.
Yeah. I've driven by it, never seen it. Lead now 1-2-4-9 over Jeffrey Fisher. James Miller solidly in control. Kevin Giottersic is in third spot. Troy Leonard in his 45 running in fourth. Thomas Wagner, last car on the lead lap, running in fifth. Eric Lida and Lee Granti rounding out the field.
Doing a little slide job there coming out of that corner. Guys are starting to drift it a little bit.
I love seeing the chunks of sod coming off the tire. It's pretty cool. And again, Miller went a little wide there on turn one, but boy, it sure did set him up good for turn two. Lots of cloud coverage here at Watkins Glen. Whole track under shade, and it has been for most of the race. Haven't really talked about that too much, Rick. The weather definitely playing a role here tonight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. Right now, the air temperature is 83 degrees. That track temperature is sitting at 84. There's only 1% humidity. The wind is coming out of the northwest about a mile per hour, so nothing too crazy. It definitely is overcast, though.
Thick clouds looking like it's going to rain at the Glen.
I think that's bringing snow to Vermont, but...
Yeah, it is. 8 more laps for James Miller. Has to hit turn one perfect every time, because when he doesn't, Fisher able to catch up big time. Miller does have a big gap to kind of play with right now. 1.8 seconds over Jeffrey Fisher. Kevin Giottersic sitting back about 2.75 from the race leader. And Miller really stretching it out now in that 25. Looking good. Ooh, gets wiggly around that bus stop.
Yeah, hit the curbing just a little too hard, Chris, and that'll upset the car just a little bit, but Miller doing a good job keeping it going the way that he wants it to go right now.
Long straightaway, getting ready for a sharp left-hand turn. And then a right, and we're over the start-finish line with 7 laps to go very soon. And Miller is putting on a clinic here as the gap back to Fisher now 5 seconds. Something is going on out back. Kevin Giottersic cannot make it. He's coming down pit road for fuel. Oh no. 7 laps to go. It's been a while since they were on pit road. 13 laps with 7 laps to go. That's an extra 4 laps around this track. Can it be done?
Yeah, I'm wondering if Kevin knows something that we don't know, Chris, and that's exactly what he's doing. He might be doing just a little bit of a pit strategy there. Ooh, it looks like the 7 car is out of gas, Chris. He cut the course there.
Lee Granti out of fuel.
I still hear it fired up, but he doesn't
running.
have the speed,
running.
yeah.
Oh, Miller with a big wiggle. The gap now 6 seconds back to Jeffrey Fisher, and I gotta think, does Fisher think If he hangs back a little bit, if he goes just a little bit slower, can he make up those extra laps needed on fuel? Does he think Miller's going to run out? What a shame that would be for Miller, but what a great strategy if it ends up working out for Fisher. The gap continues to widen between race leader Miller and this man, Jeffrey Fisher, number 60. Troy Leonard running in third. Kevin Giottersic gave up third spot to come down pit road. He wasn't there for very long, and he is back out on track trying to get caught back up. That's a long way to go here on a road course, Rick.
Yes, it definitely is, Chris. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out here. I'm on board with Jeffrey Miller. It doesn't look like he's saving any bits of fuel right now. I mean, he is just on go time. So it's going to get interesting to see. We got 6 laps to go. Does he have enough to make it all the way?
5 to go when he crosses the start-finish line. Heading into turn number 1, and it has bitten him a couple of times. Blows it up very good this time. Makes it nice and smooth. And that's the way turn 1's supposed to look. Turn 2 heading up the hill for the big left-hander, setting up for a long straightaway. And then it's the bus stop, the carousel, straightaway left hand, right hand across the start-finish line. It's almost like I've raced here a few times, Rick.
A couple, I think.
I do love the Glen. On old tires, I will be honest, that is the toughest corner right there on track, the carousel. They'll tear you apart if you're not prepared to stick to the track with the tires. And the 25 handling it very well. The gap back to Jeffrey Fisher now, 8.5 seconds.
Ooh, Miller coming down pit road. He cannot make it.
He can't make it. Jeffrey Fisher, what's he gonna do? Fisher coming down pit road. Oh, wow. Oh, no.
I'm on board with Troy Leonard right now, Chris. See if he's going to have the same issue there.
Miller coming back out on the track with fuel. He was in his pit stall for 5.5 seconds. Jeffrey Fisher in his pit stall for 5.6 seconds.
He got fuel and used his fast repair, Chris. That number 60 is brand new, looking good out there.
But lost time on pit road, the gap 9.3. Four laps to go. James Miller with a 9.5 second lead over this man right here, Jeffrey Fisher. And Troy Leonard in the 45 sitting in third with Kevin Giottersic right behind him.
Kevin making short work there. And the number 45, Chris, that 6 is looking strong. He's on go time, man. He's like, hey, listen, I got a lot of ground to make up here, so I got to do exactly what I can do to try to get caught up.
Jeffrey Fisher has fallen down to 10.9 seconds between himself and the race leader, James Miller. Miller tearing this track apart right now in his number 25. Going around the carousel after this, Rick, 2 more times to try and win this race.
And he doesn't have much pressure from me. He has no pressure from behind. Chris has got a lap car sitting there in front of him. I don't think that's going to hang up Mr. Miller at all. At 25, he's looking strong. He's been comfortable all night long, doing an outstanding job. He's led, what, 32 so far of the 50 laps tonight. But not bad. Fisher has led 6. Wagner has led 6. Jadrich has led 3.
Race leader James Miller heads into turn 1. The 7 gives a wide berth. Lee Granty lets him go. So no hang up there for race leader James Miller. Miller heading up the hill and into a left-hand turn. Setting up for a long straightaway after a slight right. This is one of the fastest parts of the entire track right here. And then you have to brake hard to get into that bus stop.
Who cuts the course a little bit.
Cuts the course. That's going to slow him down just a little. I don't think it's going to be enough to do anything major, though. James Miller looking for the white flag this time by. And there it is. White flag is waving. Miller with a 10.5 second lead over Jeffrey Fisher. Kevin Giottersic out there in 3rd. Troy Leonard 4th. Thomas Wagner 5th. Lyda and Granty are bringing up the rear in 6th and 7th spot. But the man right now who has led the most laps at 34, trying to make it 35 as he is going around this course for the last time tonight. Miller dives into the bus stop. Sets himself up for the carousel. A little loose there. You can tell there's some age on those tires. But not enough to slow him down. James Miller looking good. He is going to try and win this race with a 10.5 second advantage over 2nd place. Oh, something happened to 2nd place Fisher as Kevin Giottersic has gone around for 2nd spot. We're back on board with Miller. Miller looking to take this last corner. Miller is going to win the race here tonight at the Glen. Congratulations to James Miller. Kevin Giottersic able to get around Fisher on the last lap to take over 2nd spot. The 6 car takes it. Jeffrey Fisher going to be 3rd. Troy Leonard comes across the line in 4th. And Thomas Wagner on the front stretch looking to finish this one up in the top 5. Turn 1, the place of donuts for James Miller. As this race has finished, Miller, Giottersic, and Fisher, your top 3. We're going to be right back, guys. We've got some post-race interviews coming around the corner. Just got to set it up. We will be right back.
All right, so third place finish tonight, the number 60, Jeffrey Fisher. Let's bring him up into the booth, Chris. Jeffrey Fisher, the driver of the number 60 machine. You got Chris and Rick up in the booth. You got a copy, bud.
Yes, I do.
Hey, man, congratulations on third place sign. Give us a little rundown on your race. You had a pretty strong car there, it seemed.
Yeah, it started off good. Just trying to get through turn one and the bus stop and build a gap because I knew me and James had better cars. After the first stage, I don't know, like, the track went through a change and like got really tight during the S's, caught us out. Then we fell back a little bit, and then we just fought our way back forward, and then the old strategy, and then running on old tires, having no forward bite, and yeah, it's Watkins Glen in a cup car, so yeah.
Exactly, man. Well, hey, listen, you did a heck of a job out there. I mean, you did get to lead a couple of laps there tonight. It looks like 6 right now on the scoring board, so congratulations on that. I know third place isn't where you wanted to finish, but hey, it's Watkins Glen. Like you said, it was a pretty tough race out there tonight. Is there anybody out there on that number 60 you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank Grandstand Video, all my friends and family that are watching, if they're still watching, AV Simsport, and more importantly, James, because even last season, on into this season, James has taught me a lot during the races, how to like manage them and construct them into good results and stuff like that. So just working with him week in and week out's been very, very helpful. So big thanks to him and then you guys for broadcasting.
Well, excellent, buddy. Well, congratulations once again. Get that car loaded up, get it back to the shop. We'll see you next week in Michigan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that was third place finisher Jeffrey Fisher and his number 60 with a fantastic third place finish. And speaking of fantastic finish, it's the driver of the number 6, Kevin Giadarcic. And Kevin, you got to be happy coming home second here tonight. It was a long night for you. You started back in the field a little bit and slowly made your way towards the front and made that last lap pass over Fisher to take over second. Why don't you take me through it?
Yeah, man, it was definitely a tough one. Like, I'm not a road racer. I had no practice on this track, and that kind of shows with like my 112, 113 lap qualifying. But yeah, dude, throughout, I mean, 50 laps is a long time at this track, so you have a long time to kind of learn the track. And I was trying to pay attention to James and then Fisher to see, you know, what they were kind of doing on the track. And it paid off. I mean, I kind of thought I screwed myself over on that pit stop, but sure enough, I guess the fresh tires were enough to pass Fisher, so it worked out well.
Yeah, I noticed that you'd stopped kind of a little earlier, but yeah, you're right. The fresh tires were definitely. Well, I'm looking at the last lap. You were 2 seconds faster than Fisher on that last lap.
Yeah, I was definitely pushing it. I think I about lost it a few times the last 2 laps, just pushing it too hard, trying because I knew if I could catch him, I could pass him, just because I had the fresher tires. But yeah, I definitely was pushing it.
All right, well, congratulations again on your second place finish. Anybody on that number 6 car that you need to thank tonight?
Yeah, just want to thank Jaeger for giving me a good time. Want to thank Team One Sim. Want to thank my teammate for not showing up again. Yeah, man, just keep pushing.
Of course, teammate is Matt Gruenberg, not here tonight, but Kevin, you got something you can tell him, and it's all about a second place finish here at the Glen. Congratulations again to the driver of the number 6 car, bringing it home second.
And now we got one.
Go ahead, bud. You caught
there
it.
There is. Winner. Yeah, we got one more there. The winner tonight, 3-time winner this season so far. The driver of the number 25 machine, James D. Miller. You got Rick and Chris up in the booth. You got a copy, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he says. Hey, welcome to the Hammond Hotel once again, my friend. Congratulations. Tell us about your race.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be back. I just want to say my last 2 races was kind of... I mean, it was still a top 10. Let's not take away from it, but it was a little disappointing and for me. I would have liked to get better results. It was just didn't have quite the race that they wanted, but yeah, came here really strong, fastest practice, got the pole by almost a full second, which was I was surprised that first stint. I think I led every lap, won the stage, and the car was feeling really good. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know what everyone else talked about during that stage caution, but everyone just ramped it up, and I was definitely overdriving my car there, and had to settle down there to get back in the groove, and then had a couple cautions there due to some spins, and had one close call with the 7 there who spun out at the exit of the bus stop. Just narrowly avoided that, and then trying to work on fuel strategy throughout the race, but made it back there at the end, starting third, I believe, and slowly made my way past Thomas and Jeffrey there, and then just went on from there.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the interesting things, man. I mean, you came in here, you're dominating, and then, like you said, when that first stage came out, the guys, I mean, everybody, they're like, okay, listen, Miller is going to get a huge lead on us. So it was almost like they were racing on the last lap, man. I mean, it was crazy, and it was outstanding racing. But hey, man, I mean, you pulled it, you fell back a little bit there, but you never gave up. You just kept digging, man. So you had an excellent race out there. So once again, congratulations. Is there anybody on that number 25 you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just a shout out to Speedway Motors. I happened to purchase my steering wheel and a quick release from them, and really nice website, really great service. Shipping was fast, and it was pretty inexpensive, so that was really nice. I know the broadcast isn't showing it, but my car pretty much looks like Jeffrey's for those at home. Kind of wish it was up there now. She's a real beauty, I'll say. But thanks to Grandstand Video for also being on the car. Huge shout out to Jeffrey for a great race. Not quite the result he wanted, but definitely had great pace today. Shout out to Haley Fisher for watching and cheering us on, and shout out to all the fans at home for coming here and watching.
Well, definitely, man. Hey, listen, next week, run that same paint. We're going to try to work on Chris's training paints. It was showing up on my end, and I mean, I think even Lyda had a car that was painted like that. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, now at the beginning of the broadcast, when I was watching practice stuff, his paint was coming through, then all of a sudden it went all black on me. So trading paint's definitely having an issue tonight. We'll, obviously we can't do much, make them fix anything, but, we do know a couple of tricks. Tonight it didn't work for some reason on all the cars. So definitely, I mean, I saw the paint job. It was beautiful, man. And, we look forward to seeing you next week in Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan should be pretty good for me too. I know last year had a good result. I think actually last season Michigan might have been the first MaxSpeedTV broadcasted race for the league, and happened to get second there with quite a close finish between myself and third place. So should be exciting next week.
Awesome. We'll look forward to that, buddy. Well, listen, Friday night's over. Pack that car up, go celebrate with your team, man. Congratulations once again, and bring that momentum next week.
10-4, thank you.
And that was race winner, driver of the number 25, James Miller. And again, I have to apologize, guys. We did try and get these paints working. Trading paints just obviously having an issue, not working the way we wanted it to. And there's some things that are out of our control. Tune in again on Sunday night. We bring you all the action from Blazing Pedals right here on MaxSpeedTV. Next Wednesday, it's going to be Racing for a Cause in their super late models, doing some short track racing. And Rick, that is a good way to start the weekend. A nice road race, and James Miller, Kevin, Jeff Fisher, Troy Leonard, Thomas Wagner, Eric Lyda, Lee Granti, really getting it done out there for a small field. It was exciting. I don't know if we could have taken too many more cars, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the action was right there on the track, Chris. So, I mean, small field, I'm sure, not everybody happy about that, but they put on some good, good race and a really good show for us. So we appreciate it there. We appreciate everybody out there who is watching MaxSpeed TV Land. We appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, like Chris said. Sunday night, Blazing Pedals, trjkarting.com truck series. We're heading to Homestead. Wednesday, we are with the RFC boys with their super late models. I can't wait for that. That's at Five Flags, Chris. And then right here again, Relentless Racing Series next Friday at Michigan.
It's going to be an exciting week of racing, brought to you right here on MaxSpeedTV. Good night, everybody.